Rukus Avenue Radio.
Namaste and hello, Rukus Avenue Radio listeners. This is your correspondent, Dr. Priyadarshini G. Roy. I'm an actor, producer, and have my PhD in strategic media. But my most powerful asset is that of a storyteller. And my show is about giving that scope and limelight to other storytellers making a powerful impact in entertainment, media, music, charity, and otherwise. Catch the show where I invest in storytellers and share their stories across the globe only on Rukus Avenue Radio.
Rukus Avenue Radio.
Hello, I'm Rita Meher, and you're listening to Rukus Avenue Radio, now available on iHeartRADIO.
Hello, Rukus Avenue Radio listeners. This is your correspondent, Dr. Priyadarshini G. Roy, here with another amazing episode. So today I want to welcome a recurring guest who I had the honor of speaking with on season 1, Rita Meher. Rita, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Roy, for having me on your show.
Of course, it's always a pleasure speaking with you and all the amazing work that you're putting into. And we're going to dive right into Rita's bio. So Rita Meher has been running Tasveer since its inception in March 2002. Before diving full-time as the Executive Director of Tasveer in 2012, she was a video producer and editor. She has produced award-winning public television shows and made her career debut on TV in Japan in 1995. She's also a film producer for Wakhri, a Pakistani film, and Zewel, Bangladeshi film. Her passion is to bring the light of stories of the South Asian diaspora. So please give a round welcome to the co-founder and executive director of Tasveer Film Festival and Market, Rita Meher. Rita,
Thank you.
Such amazing updates since the last time that we have spoken.
Thank you.
Of course. So Tasveer Film Festival and Market is North America's only Oscar qualifying South Asian film festival. It's making history this year by launching North America's first South Asian focused global film market in this year's 19th iteration. Can you tell us more about the inspiration and goals behind this groundbreaking initiative?
Absolutely, Dr. Roy. First of all, I wanted to also point out that it's a Oscar qualifying South Asian Film Festival, not only in North America, it's in the whole world. We are the only Oscar qualifying South Asian Film Festival in the whole world. Yes, your question is, what is our inspiration behind now adding one more thing to our plate, as if we weren't busy enough? The whole genesis of starting the Tasveer Film Market goes back to how we can support our South Asian filmmakers, how we can bring our stories to fruition, to life, and be seen by mainstream audience. We feel we are still hugely underrepresented, under 1% of mainstream media. Though the representation is slowly, steadily growing, but it's not good enough yet. When we started giving out our Tasveer Film Fund grant in 2020, when we started with Netflix, producing with them, we said, okay, we will give a grant of $5,000 and maybe some people will show up and apply to the grant. And we get, for one grant, we get about 300 applications with the projects ready to go. And we were blown away by how much gap there is, how much need there is in the community for South Asian filmmakers, by and about South Asian filmmakers. Now it has grown to 3 grants per year, $75,000 total, $25,000 per project. We started to think, what can we do more? How could we put the filmmakers and producers directly in front of the decision makers? I started going to some other markets. I went to Cannes, Tribeca, Goa Film Bazaar, and brought back some ideas, brought back my associate director from Mumbai, Anupama Bose, and together we set out to do this, to start this first ever South Asian film market, never been done before outside South Asia. We are doing it. We are making this happen, getting more and more stories getting greenlit.
And I love how you mentioned your co-director or your affiliates such as yourself. You're all women, South Asian representation in this film festival world and breaking grounds into making the first South Asian film market outside of South Asia. And speaking of wonderful women in entertainment and in film, Deepa Mehta is set to open the Tasveer film market as the keynote speaker. How did her involvement come about, and what can attendees expect from her address?
As you have heard from our press release, director, filmmaker Deepa Mehta is set to open our market with her inaugural keynote address. We are very lucky and honored to have her because we feel she is one of the OGs of the South Asian diaspora filmmaker, a women filmmaker, really brave and bold in her storytelling and not stepping down or, dumbing it down for anybody. She's with her earth, fire, and water films, the topics, the social justice topic that she had pushed through the mainstream, and we align very well. Tasveer is a social justice driven South Asian film organization. Our lens is to use social justice lens, and that's how we were founded right after 9/11, to create a platform for South Asians, but always had to look through that lens, and Deepa Mehta does that very well. We were thinking, who should we ask for this inaugural keynote? And she was one of the person who was on our list. And when she said yes, we stopped there and they said, you have to come and give this address to inspire our filmmakers.
And I think a lot of people can derive a lot of inspiration from not just her body of work, but who she is. And I've had the pleasure of meeting her at different film festivals, and just how warm she is in the film festival circuit to aspiring filmmakers who come from many different identities that you mentioned that Tasveer also represents. So this year's festival boasts an impressive lineup with 110 films, including 36 world premieres. What are some of the key films and themes you are most excited about?
Your children, you cannot name who's your favorite, but we still try to give them a little bit of pat or shout out. I can speak from what are my favorite thing, like The Closing Night is amazing with their boy in both title, Blue Boy, Nice Indian Boy, both by LGBTQI filmmaker, and pushing the envelope through Blue Boy, where showing spirituality could be queer also. Nice Indian Boy is a funny comedy, though it seems like the regular run-of-the-mill comedy coming out story, but it's not. It's like parents are all in on their same-sex marriage, but at the same time is a comedy with Zernagar, Karan Soni, directed by Roshan Sethi. Opening night is Wakhri. It's inspired by true events where an influencer in Pakistan was murdered due to her expose on Instagram and social media. It's inspired that true event, and Wakhri does justice to that. It's really women empowering, bold story. The Umesh Chronicles, where you would never see Amitabh Bachchan acting in an indie film in such a low-key but yet such a powerful performance, and Babil Khan in it, Irfan Khan's son. Beautiful slice of life storytelling. This girl who knows she's not a girl from inside and wants to act as a boy, and how her family wants to anti-conversion. It's a great gender identity film, and film on gender identity. It's beautifully made, well acted. There's many films out there. Oh, we are showing All We Imagine as Light, the Cannes Grand Prix winner film, and by Payal Kapadia. We are so honored to have that film with us.
That's a wonderful lineup full of so many different talented creatives from all different aspects. Like you mentioned Amitabh Bachchan in the same light as you mentioned some of the Cannes Grand Prix winners, to indie films, to such different amplified diverse voices. And so Tasveer has a strong legacy of empowering diverse voices. How does this year's festival continue to amplify South Asian stories, particularly with the Tasveer Film Fund, pitches, and other initiatives?
That is the main central focus of our organization, the soul of our organization, to amplify marginalized voices. And how do we do it? When we created the grant, we made sure our marginalized community, in this case the LGBTQI, is highlighted and their stories are being told and they are funded. So through the Tasveer Film Fund, we picked 9 projects, and they are, in this case, though it's only given to the North American filmmakers from Canada and USA, we want to make sure there's a caste story, there's a story on gender made by women filmmaker, there's representation of women non-binary filmmakers, and also LGBTQI filmmakers. So out of those 9 projects, we want to make sure one of those winners will be from these categories.
That's great. Now, the festival highlights representation, like you just mentioned, with over half of the films directed by women, trans, or non-binary filmmakers. How has Tasveer been able to cultivate such an inclusive platform?
The way we do it, we take curation very seriously. We get this year we had about 20 to 25 programmers and reviewers, and we also solicit films and reach out, and when we are always looking what's happening around the world in different festivals. When we don't see films from one category, we also try to decenter India, because that's where the most films are made, and we try to reach out Nepali filmmakers and filmmakers from other countries and other marginalized communities. There's film on Dr. Ambedkar's legacy, there's film on Dalit stories. We are very hawk-eyed on whether all these things are covered, and is there a equal representation, that there is a representation from these marginalized communities or not. So we are we focus on the programming. That's our bread and butter and soul of our festival. That's not done well, nothing else matters. We put a lot of research and hard work in this curation, and I'm always involved. I never let it go. Even for 22 years, I've always been very involved with the programming.
I absolutely laud your hard work, especially you and your team, and I think the driving force behind everyone's will to be seen and to be heard, no matter what your identity is, no matter where you come from, but the powerful nature of storytelling and to feel a oneness despite all the physical barriers or obstacles. I think that's the beauty of cinema. And you and your team showcase that wonderfully. So Rita, where can fans find Tasveer online through social media and your website?
Before I say that, I also want to add that our associate director for the film festival Shailaja Rao worked really, really hard on the programming too, just like Anupama Bose for the associate director for the film market. And you can find all this information and our programming on our schedule on tasveer.org. Very simple, TASVEER.org. When you go there, it will transform into a Tasveer Festival website, and there's a schedule right on top.
Perfect. All right, Rukus Avenue Radio listeners, you heard it here first. This is your correspondent, Dr. Roy, signing off. Make sure to grab your tickets on tasveer.org for the 19th Tasveer Film Festival and Market, happening from October 15th till the 20th, 2024 at the Seattle Center. And stay tuned for all of the exclusive access on Rukus Avenue Radio, the largest South Asian radio and podcast network on iHeartRADIO. This is your correspondent, Dr. Priyadarshini G. Roy, signing off with another episode for Rukus Avenue Radio. Stay tuned and catch more updates with me on social media at Dr. Priyadarshini G. Roy or PriyadarshiniFilmsandEntertainment.com. Stay tuned, and until next time.
Rukus Avenue Radio.